Hello, fellow Star Wars fans. It is Starrapter here. Welcome back for my review of Star Wars Adventures issue number 6. This is part of volume 2, and it's amazing, guys. We got 2 Star Wars adventure comics within the span of 2 weeks. So, IDW really has to play catch up here. There were several months where we didn't get any Star Wars adventure comics, so now we are really just going full speed ahead, getting these comics out for the month of July. So we have 2 stories. We have one called The Incident Part 2 during the Clone Wars, and we have one set during the High Republic, so I'm very excited to talk about that second story. So let's jump into the Incident Part 2, this Clone Wars story, which picks up from last week. We have Anakin, we have Padme. They are part of this ceremony, this big extravaganza. It gets raided by these bounty hunters that wants the person that's in charge of the party's Beskar armor that they think he has. So basically, everybody's held hostage, and we have Padme sneaking around trying to take these goons out one at a time. Now, in this issue, we do get reunite with Anakin and Padme, and they're just going around, sneaking around, taking these thugs out one at a time. We have this other droid named Checker that intervenes and is able to distract this villain in time for Padme to knock this guy out and basically, get this guy arrested for the most part and save the day. So, this wasn't my favorite Star Wars adventure story. I'll just put that right out there. It did give me a lot of vibes from Hostage Crisis, which is episode 22 of season 1 of Clone Wars, I believe. So it's like very much an empowering Padme story where it really shows you her strength and her bravery and her courageous spirit to go around in the face of danger and unknown threat to just go and take those guys out. Yeah, that's basically it. But the story I really want to talk about here is the High Republic. We have a story called The Gaze Electric. So on the timeline in the High Republic, this one is set in between the events of Light of the Jedi and the High Republic Adventures issue number 1 by Daniel Jose Alder. So in this story we open up, we have this character of Dr. Uttersong, who is the one that is always in charge of Mari Santeca, who is like the savant hyperspace person that is giving all these paths to Marchion Ro. So we have her conversing with Uttersong saying, I sense emergencies that are happening into these specific locations, one of them being Trymant 4. And Trymant 4 has been a location that Marchion Ro had, to visit. There's something special he wants to get there. So he needs to get there immediately to get this item off of the planet. So, of course, the comms are down. The Gaze Electric is a very, very large ship. It looks like it's the size of a super Star Destroyer. It's humongous. So he has these 3 Nile goons go from point A to point B within 10 minutes to get this message to the bridge to go to Trymant 4 to start this mission immediately before it gets vaporized by all the, the legacy disaster, all that's the hyperspace disaster or the great disaster. So this whole issue is just like a fun romp going through the different areas of the Gaze Electric. We see the Bakurans, which we also see in the High Republic Adventures. They're riding on them, and it just shows you how big the Gaze Electric is. It shows you how cutthroat the Nile are, pushing one another out of the way to kind of get the favor of Marchion Ro, whoever is going to be the first one there. It's sort of like a foot race. So they do get there. Of course, when they get there, the comms are restored, and Marchion Ro kind of gives this really valiant speech about, hey, we're going on this mission. We're going to discover powers that we've never had before. He gives them this really rousing speech, and that heads us right into the High Republic High Republic Adventures issue number 1, where we see, okay, why is Marchion Ro here? Because it's this story how he arrived at this location just in time during, an emergence from the Legacy run. So very cool issue here. One really cool detail I noticed is that Marchion Ro, at one point, he's standing in front of a view screen. He has a table, and he has both different helmets that he has. That was always a question, is how does he end up from one to the other and back and forth? He interchanges his helmets, and that's what Daniel Jose Alder was talking about before on his Twitter. I like the attention to detail with all the different kind of Nile names. We have somebody named Zadgar, who looks like a cool pilot. The Gaze Electric is just massive because in the High Republic Adventures, there's that moment when, they say they're on the Gaze Electric, but they're in like an arena. And I thought that was a misprint. I didn't think that, maybe the Gaze Electric was meant to be put on that page because, how do you have a Coliseum in the middle of a starship? Well, apparently this thing is that big. The ship is that big to have that. So pretty cool stuff there. But I just like the fact that Mari Santeca is such a vital component to the Naya organization, about how she could even sense the immersions, and there's even kind of a sense of urgency, because Undersound is saying, look, she doesn't have much life left. You know, she doesn't have a lot left in her to keep doing these calculations. She's going to be dead soon, because we've already been prolonging her life past the age of 100 at this point since the hyperspace rush. So, well, you know, you got to read on to figure out what happens to this character, but it is pretty cool how everything is getting tied in very neatly to one another. And while this story might not be integral to the High Republic, it is still pretty cool that we're seeing a story like this inserted into the regular mainline Star Wars Adventures comics, and I do hope we get more like little short stories like this throughout the time of Star Wars Adventures every once in a while. So that is going to do it for my review of Star Wars Adventures issue number 6. What did you think about these stories? Let me know in the comment section down below. For more on Star Wars, I do have my review of another High Republic story that I put out this week, and that is Justina Ireland's Out of the Shadows book. Go ahead and check that one out. For more on Star Wars, and for my Star Wars podcast called Outer Rim Transmission, you can check that out on this very channel every Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern. We go live. We also are available on all podcast platforms to download for audio at your pleasure, such as Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Google Music. All those, you can find us there. Make sure you go to subscribe and tell me what you think about the podcast. So that's going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.